Sensei is a Japanese word that means teacher. And I teach Isshin-Ryu Karate for the Recreation Department of Bethel Park at Bethel Park Community Center. I've been in Isshin-Ryu Karate for over half a century. And it's been my observation, the violence is always emphasized, but the better virtues of karate is seldom seen. In this series, my purpose is to acquaint you, the viewer, with the benefits of martial arts training in general and Isshin-Ryu Karate specifically. So whether you're a martial artist already, or whether you're a person who's thought of taking martial arts, or if you're someone with no interest whatsoever in martial arts, I think you'll find this program to be of benefit to you. My name is Chuck Wallace, but my students call me Sensei. Hello, and welcome to episode 6 of My Students Call Me Sensei. Today, we're going to have a thorough examination of the general topic of self-defense. I mentioned at episode 5 that we would be doing so. Before we get into the topic of overall self-defense, I'd like to settle some old business. Last episode, I misspoke. I had said that my karate instructor and longtime best friend, William H. Dissel, had received his 10th degree black belt certificate at the Isshin-Ryu World Karate Association World Karate Championship in Princeton, New Jersey in 2015. I misspoke. It was in 2013 in Akron, Ohio, that he received that presentation of 10th degree black belt from Grandmaster Kichiro Shimabuku. The following summer, on August 15th of 2014, William H. Dissel passed away, and I lost a friend of 50 years. Now, today, for the topic of self-defense. William H. Dissel and I, in the 1970s, owned a karate school in downtown Pittsburgh, which by 1975 had grown to become what we thought at the time was the largest karate school on the eastern seaboard. We had 500 students enrolled at one point. As a part of the enrollment procedure, we asked on our questionnaire, our application for membership, what made you decide to take karate? And almost to a person, everyone responded to learn self-defense. Now, the topic of self-defense involves quite a bit more than just learning how to do techniques against attackers who attack you. There's a good bit more involved. And one of the most important aspects of self-defense is preventative self-defense. We need to do what we can do to keep ourselves out of situations that would require us to physically defend ourselves. In order to make use of preventative self-defense, we need to develop situational recognition, situational awareness. Situational awareness, to define it in simple words, just means trying to be aware of situations as they unfold, so that if they have a potential for harm in them for us, that we can avoid that harm. But in order to make that decision, we need to be aware. To develop situation awareness, we need first and foremost to improve our general or overall awareness. And one of the best ways to do that is to eliminate or reduce the number of distractions that we're subject to every day. Good place?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what are we going to do next?
Now I'm going to talk about the internal and the external distractions that we have and what we can do about that. If at any point you think I've gone too far, that I'm too talky and overusing my time, give me some kind of a signal and I'll
change it up.
Yeah, I'll turn it up a notch, or whatever Emerald says, kick it up a notch.
All right.
Distraction comes in two versions, internal and external. Now, the internal version has to do with the dialogue that goes on in our brains. Most every one of us is constantly thinking of something, our job, our home life, perhaps our hobbies, leisure time, whatever. We're seldom without thoughts in our brain, except when we sleep or when we pursue some activity that takes us away and lets us become 100% present to the moment, concentrating only on what we're doing. Karate study and practice is an example, but any sport could be. Could be when you play basketball, or if you're a hockey player. It could be that you're a long-distance runner, where you have to stay focused on what you're doing. But in order to reduce that internal dialogue, there are some things that a person can do, and one is meditation. One of the prior programs that we had, I spent almost the entire time on meditation. Meditation helps shut down that internal mental dialogue, and it gives you some rest, some peace, and also increases your ability to be aware of your surroundings. Meditation is one way. The other way is to perform other activities such as yoga, karate, judo, jiu-jitsu, whatever, something that takes your attention. That will increase your general awareness. And from general awareness improvement, we advance to situational awareness. It's almost a natural byproduct of improving your general awareness. Now, the external distractions we have are numerous. One of the most prominent today that I see are cell phones and smartphones. Obviously, people are texting or talking on their cell phones when driving. It's recognized that it's very dangerous, but many people continue to do it. Some people are face down in their cell phones or their smartphones when they're walking, even crossing streets. This morning, as I watched network news, I saw a story about a city in Germany that has installed traffic lights in the sidewalk near the curb, so that someone using a cell phone need not raise his eyes to look at the traffic signal, but can see either red or green, so he knows if he or she should stop or proceed to cross the street. That's just an example of how far things have gone. But if you're lost in your cell phone or your smartphone, you're not aware. You can't be situationally aware. You're at a danger from buses and cars when you cross the street, and you're at a danger from muggers when you're walking in areas where you should have 100% of your attention on your surroundings. So these are two areas, the external and the internal distractions that you need to control. There are two kinds of situations that could cause us to be required to defend ourselves physically. The first is situations that we participate in, and second, situations that are thrust upon us. Situations that we participate in could be arguments or disputes when one or both parties is losing his or her temper. The way to avoid such situations is to stay calm, perhaps practice the long exhale, as I've talked about on other programs, and try to reason with the person you're in opposition with. Sometimes that doesn't work, and you need to just walk away if that's the practical and possible thing to do. But you want at all times to have a philosophy as to when and if you should use self-defense physically. I teach my students only when you have absolutely no other option available is it okay to use karate. Well, whether you're a karate student or not, that's a good thing, a good law to go by. Avoid using physical means against other people. Someone gets hurt. It could be them, it could be you, it could be both. And of course, you run the risk of breaking the law. So it's always better to avoid physical confrontations if at all possible. Stay calm, stay cool, try to use reason, and do the best you can. The other way is an unprovoked attack. In the one hand, we're a participant in the conflict. In the other hand, we're completely innocent. We're completely caught off guard. From out of the blue, we're attacked. Whether it be a mugging or some other form of violent attack, it could happen to any of us at any time. Hopefully it never happens to us. If it does happen, it's very traumatic. And if it's a matter of surrendering your wallet, if it's a matter of giving the money that you have in your pockets, even I would do that with over 50 years of training in self-defense, especially if the attacker has a weapon. It's always better. What's money worth? What's a wallet? A few credit cards. It's just not worth the risk to endanger yourself. That's the best way to go. On the other hand, sometimes they take your wallet and attack you anyway. In that event, there are some things that you can do. One is to shout. When it comes to the point where the attacker actually moves for you and towards you, you can shout, "Stop!" in a loud, commanding voice. You may put your hands out like this to let him know, stay back. If he chooses to approach you then, you're going to have to do some other movements. What you can possibly do as he comes in on you is to hit him with the palm heel right to the base of the nose. Palm heel is a great weapon. If your hands are this way, he's coming in, then you can move in and hit the nose. Hitting the base of the nose makes the eyes water. The person can't see. It's a good solid shot. It's a good thing to do. Another thing you can do is to kick the attacker in the shins. As he approaches you, lift the back leg, swing the whole leg, and drive into the shin. And hitting with the edge of the heel back toward the back of the heel. A good swift kick to the shins can be a very good persuader. At that point, you flee. You get out of the area. You need to have a philosophy as to what to do when you defend yourself. What is your goal? Your goal is to preserve your safety. It's not to beat up your attacker. Don't think about winning. Think about not losing. So you can distract, you can shout, you can shin kick, you can do some other technique that will give you the opportunity to flee the area and do so with great haste. Now, there are some precautions that you can take, general precautions, and most of them you already know. Lock your doors in the car. Of course, in your home, you lock the doors. If you're walking on the street and someone confronts you, asking for a match, asking for directions, whatever, I just say, sorry, don't have time, and keep on going. That's always the best way. Might be an innocent encounter, but it may not. It may be a setup for something that you don't want to get involved with. A car pulling up and going by. Should they call you over to ask questions, perhaps directions? If you're an adult and you want to give directions, and they look okay, stay where you are and give the directions. If it involves you going over, I would avoid that. Once again, you can say that you're in a hurry. And of course, you inform your children to never approach the car. All the authorities agree on that. If someone calls them over to the car, they should walk away, and if necessary, run away and get away as quick as possible. Should not approach the car. All the authorities, and I've talked to people in law enforcement for many, many years, all the authorities say never get in the car. Getting in the car, they could take you to a different area and they would not have good things in mind for you. So you never get inside the car, and make sure your children know that as well. These are common sense things that you can do. If you're approaching a crowd of young people that looks a little bit unsavory, or if they're acting in a boisterous or aggressive way, perhaps you should cross the street and continue in that direction. I'm reminded of the gangs of young men, teenagers mostly, several years ago, who were sucker punching people that they encountered on the street. It even started here in Pittsburgh. What can you do about that? Stay alert, stay aware, and keep off to the side. Don't be too close. Always give yourself some room. You need room to react should something happen. Don't let anyone get right in your face. Stay back and perhaps stand somewhat sideways so that you're ready, should a punch be thrown, that you can block the punch and perhaps throw a punch of your own, or move back, or move to the side. Don't let them get in too close on you. You're much safer that way. It's the best way to preserve your safety, and preserving your safety is your #1 goal. Keep that in mind. Now, I want to show you a few items that can be used as weapons if you're attacked. And I'm not going to show you what you might think I will. I'm not going to show you guns or knives, but I'm going to show you weapons that you might have with you on your person. On a day when you expect rain, you may well have an umbrella, such as this one. An umbrella can be a great weapon. If you carry it at your side, like this, if someone rushes at you, you can thrust into the groin, straight into the groin, or you can thrust up to the solar plexus and drive through the solar plexus. Or you can thrust to the throat, and that can be very good. Notice I use two hands. I use two hands when I thrust, and I lean forward on the front leg to add force to the blow. The edge of the handle can be used. It's very effective. You can strike into the top of the hand, you can strike the bone, you can strike the knee, you can strike the shin. It's good not to come around toward the head, it's blocked easier, but thrusting at the groin, the solar plexus, and the throat are probably your three best ways. And if you knock the wind out of them, or if they're choking with that strike to the throat, that's the time you leave the scene. We have some other weapons that we can use. Along those same lines, if you can have a magazine that you can quickly roll up, basically it can be used the same way. This way is no good, but you can thrust into the groin, thrust into the solar plexus, thrust into the throat. So even a magazine can be used in self-defense. Last but not least, we have a folder or a book. Now, if I hit someone like this with the whole surface of the book, I'm spreading the force of that blow across that person's entire chest and midsection. So the best and most effective way to strike would be either with the edge, the side of the booklet, or the point. And there again, it could be groin, it could be solar plexus, it could be up to the throat. And if you're striking with that point, all of the force is concentrated right there at that point. 3 ways. A pen. You may have a pen in your pocket. You can use a pen. You can have it down at your side as you're walking along. If someone comes and grabs you, you can stick the pen into the neck. You can stick it into the hand. It can be stuck into the thigh. It can be a very, very effective tool. Now, it doesn't put the attacker out of action, but it might buy you the time you need to flee the scene. Preserving your safety is your goal completely. That's the way to go. Now, the natural weapons that you can use are many, but it should be as simple as possible. Punching is not a good thing to do, especially at the head. So I recommend the palm heel strike, striking with the heel of the palm. If you strike coming up underneath to the chin, this can be a very effective strike. Or if you come in straight into the nose or hit the nose from the side, any of these palm heel strikes to the nose is a good way to go. Striking the nose is very painful. The tears flow, very hard for that person to see. And that's a great thing to use, a great way to go. The elbow can be good, but you want to hit with the point of the elbow. You can come into the solar plexus, okay? Someone who's behind you, you can drive the elbow back into his solar plexus. So the elbow, coming up with the elbow into the chin, can be very effective. So the elbow is always there and ready to go. The knee, oftentimes an attacker will grab you. Grab him back, and you can drive your knee into the groin area, for one. You can drive into the inner thigh. There's a nerve halfway between the groin and the knee on the inner thigh, which can cause great pain from either side, of course, driving in. Or if you have the opportunity, you can drive the knee into the outside of the thigh. Sometimes if you drive hard enough and hit that nerve right on the button, the leg becomes immobilized temporarily, and that's your time to flee. That's your time to get away. The last episode, episode 5, we showed one of my students and I striking at a dummy named Bob, a Makawara, which is a striking board, and the striking bag, the heavy bag, using some of these techniques. Palm heel is one to remember. Palm heel, elbow, knee, and bottom fist. Bottom fist. You can strike with a bottom fist coming down on the nose. Now the bottom fist is a good weapon to use. If you make a good tight fist, you're hitting with a padded area, which is the bottom, and you can do a lot of damage. You can also strike to the ribs with that bottom fist, and that's a good way to go. Or the solar plexus. Someone coming behind you, you can step back and strike into the groin from here, angling in and striking with a bottom fist to the groin. So palm heel, elbow, bottom fist, knee, these are all very effective for self-defense. The head can be used, although I don't necessarily recommend it, but you can strike with the top of your head if you strike into the nose of a person. The top of the head right here at the crown is very hard, and that's a good place to use. The problem is, if you hit it the wrong place, it could be dangerous. Someone who grabs you from behind, you can put your chin on your chest and snap your head back. And in doing that, you may make connection right with the nose. Once again, you're hitting the nose. And that's the time to take off, to run. Any of these techniques can be useful to you. I hope that some of the things I mentioned might give you a little bit of assurance as to what you could do if you're attacked. Remember that the best defense, the best self-defense is preventative self-defense. And remember also that your greatest weapon of self-defense is right here in between your ears, your brain. Use your wits first. Try to think clearly. Keep breathing. When people are attacked, sometimes they forget to breathe. And in forgetting to breathe, no oxygen goes to the brain. If you do the long exhale, then the inhale will come automatically. So remember that long exhale. A shout is helpful because a shout is a verbalized exhale. Whether it's a karate shout or not, doesn't matter. The shout might startle the opponent and you can run away. The shout might draw other people to come to your aid. The shout is a great tool to use. If you find that you do have to defend yourself and there's no other alternative, then you need to fight ferociously, making all the noise you can muster and leave the scene just as quickly as you can. I know a number of years ago, I read a book on self-defense, and I've read many over the years. And one of the books I read mentioned the top 3 self-defense techniques. Number 1, run. Number 2, run. Number 3, you guessed it, run. Well, it's not always possible to run, but it's good advice. If you're able to run, and if there's a place to run to, then do that. I hope this program has been of some help to you today. And most of us are never attacked. Most of us never have to use any self-defense. And if we are especially aware, situational awareness should be your goal. And if you're forced into an event, remember that what you want to do is preserve your safety. Thanks for your attention, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.